Today is June 6th, and I would like for everyone to read over the risk disclaimer. It protects you and it protects me. Basically, you should never trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Even with binary options, if you're trading binary options, you do have risk associated with your trades. And if you're not willing to lose that money, you should not place the trade. The markets can move against you very quickly. Binary options allow you to limit the risk, but it does not eliminate risk. Very important to understand that, okay? Okay, and we'll get started. Now you do see I have the NASDAQ up, I have the Dow Jones up, also have the British pound, the euro dollar, the USD JPY, and the euro yen. So these are the markets I'm going to be focused on this morning. I do think we're going to see a retracement now on the Dow and on the NASDAQ. And there's a couple of different ways you could actually, trade a retracement like this. You could use a 20-minute binary option, or you could use one that expires in 1 hour. Okay, I do think that it's going to come down to 21,137 or possibly to the ATR. Now you do have to watch the ATR because the ATR will pull up towards price. Same thing on the NASDAQ, it will pull up towards price. You can also go down to the 3-minute and watch as it approaches the ATR on the 3-minute to see what it does. So you have an ATR on the 3-minute Dow at 21,130. Over on the NASDAQ, it is at 5878.5. Now, alternatively, if you don't want to take a counter trend position, then you could always wait for price to approach the ATR and then take an entry to the upside. I do think that it's going to flip this ATR and make a congestion dot because it is pulling back on the 12-minute chart. The 12-minute chart ATR is at 21,116. Over on the NASDAQ, the 12-minute is at 5869.25. Okay, so those are the areas. You can also see on the 12-minute that sellers stepped into the market here. That's a good indication that the market's going to go down. Additionally, over here on the 12-minute Dow, you can see that you have volume divergence there as well. In other words, as price went up, buyers decreased. Does everybody understand that? Now, you're probably going to see what I'm talking about over here on the euro yen as well. You have a congestion dot that's formed at 123.40, and you're probably going to come back to 123.02. Okay, and with stochastics being above 80, more than likely this is going to retrace back down to this ATR, and then you would look at the stochastics to see, okay, are we overextended to the downside? Do we have hidden divergence? Any of those criteria would give you an entry back into a long position. Over on the USD JPY, you're actually getting an entry to the short side, and currently price is at 109.45. So you could look and see where there is a cheap binary option on the USD JPY. You would have to go out until at least 11 a.m. on that. So currently price is trading at 109.45. You could go down to 42 for $42, or you could go down to 38 for $32. Does everybody understand that? And this one would be at 38, which is about here. We can get it a little bit more precise. I usually go about 1 pip from my strike just to let me know where it's at. And that would have had $32 of risk on it. On the euro dollar, you need to wait for a retracement back to the ATR to get an entry point. Not real enthusiastic over the euro yen because the strike width is every 10 pips. And because that's every 10 pips, you're coming down to 0.4. You know, they have a strike at 27, well, about $32 a risk too. It's 27, not 37. I think I said 37. So if you did that one, you're looking about here for the move. And come down a little bit more. So price would need to get under this red line. Now the issue here for this one is the fact that you are going to need at least 4 bars, and you'll probably get it without a problem because you're going to go down to this ATR. I think it will do it in less than 4 bars, and then it's going to revert back up. So that's one thing you need to watch out for. Does everybody understand that so far? So in this case, you might not get your full profit potential. Could you at least make a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio? Yeah, probably. You could also just wait and let this come back to the ATR and then see what the stochastics does on that ATR. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay. Right now, the ATR on the 3-minute is holding price. You may actually make a lower high here, and then that would push it down for that retracement. Now, I do not personally like to use at the money binary options. I like to use out of the money. And one that I did this morning, I actually did a video on this one. It was on the Aussie. You can see that we went up, made a high, it retraced back to the ATR. When it retraced back to the ATR, it formed a reversal bar, and I actually went in. It had $20 of risk, one strikeout at 90, and I set a profit target at 80, and of course it made the $80 profit target. Here you can see that you had hidden divergence. In other words, as price was coming back to this ATR and it formed this lower high, it made a higher low, but a lower low in the stochastics. That's what is called hidden divergence. And it typically means that price is going to go up when it's on the lows. If you have hidden divergence on the highs, it means that price is going to go down. And I'm going to send that back over there. And for those of you that have studied the reversal bars, the way that I teach them anyway, you might think that this is a reversal bar combination, but it's not. The low was here. This did not make a low. It looks like it, but it's misleading. Looking at the British pound, you can see that you had an entry here at an ATR, forms a reversal bar. Here, it never got close enough to the ATR. Would I have taken it knowing that this red dots were offering resistance? I would have. You also had a previous entry on the USD JPY here. Also had it on the Euro Yen over here. Again, on the Euro, I would be waiting for that retracement to come in. On the USD yen, you form that congestion dot and you have a resistance line right up above you. Same thing pretty much over on the euro yen. Now this has 9 minutes left, so I'm telling you this early. Do you see how that reversal bar is forming at that red line? That means that the euro could take out this high if the pattern continues. This is acting as a support level for price. You see pretty much the same thing over here on the Dow. The ATR is the one that acted as support for the NASDAQ. I do think you're going to get trend divergence. It's going to come back to the ATR again. And the reason that I was actually looking at the 45-minute is because the 45-minute has formed a congestion dot, and currently it's rejecting that area. In other words, they want to come back and test for a support level on both the NASDAQ and the Dow. This is why I use the multiples that I do. It clearly shows that they need a test before they continue up. Right now, the only one that I see actually on the euro that I would want to trade would be 1280. It's got like $23 of risk. You could watch the 1276 area. Right now it's at 35.25. I would actually prefer the 1280. Now the only issue with that is it is going to have to exceed this high. And I'll just put a line on the chart for that one. Now, price is making higher highs. Stochastics is making lower high on the Dow. It's not really doing that over on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has been beaten to its own little drum. But the one thing to know about that is if you get that retracement on the 45-minute, you will lose on a 2-hour binary. Personally, every time I enter a binary, I always go ahead and set a profit target at either 85 or at 15. That way, if I get distracted, it's not a problem. If it reaches up to my profit target, then either it's filled or it's not. I only use low risk binary, so it's really kind of easy. And the reason it's easy is because I'm not risking a lot, and my risk to reward ratio is usually 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. So even if I have one negative trade, it doesn't wipe out the profits that I have. Again, you're seeing it come back and test this blue line here. I don't like the setup right now on the indices just because of the 45-minute. And I think the Dow shows it clearer, where you have a wide bar on the 45-minute, and it typically will retrace that wide bar by about 50%. So I'm not eager to enter the indices. If you could get a binary, and right now Nadex for some reason is not updating on the indices in the demo account. The last I looked anyway. Well, now they are. So let's go look at the Wall Street 30. On the Wall Street 30, you do have one at, let me stretch this out, at 179 for $24 a risk. I don't want to take it because I know what the 45-minute is doing, and I don't like what it's doing at this particular time. If you want to trend trade it, you know, $24, you could go out at 179. That's your decision. I don't like what this is doing, so I prefer to wait. The expiration on that would be at noon, Chris. And this is like 2 points above that 179 area. Again, I don't particularly like it. If you want to do it, that's up to you. Yeah, it's the 21,179 area. And again, I mean, this is a weak bar on the Dow. You can tell that because it went up, made a high, closed on the low. If this one closes under the low of this bar, then more than likely you're going to have a retracement. So I don't think it's the best time to take that trade right now. The other thing that I look at is for the USD JPY, is it still feasible to consider this? And you can see that the average for the 11 o'clock from 2005 to 2016 is 26 pips. If I wanted to see the 2016 average, it's 27 pips. So this is still feasible for this to move down where I want it. And I think it might. The fact that this will go up and move back down, and the fact that you're only limiting your risk to $30 a contract really kind of helps you when you're trading binary options. Now this bar on the Dow does not complete until 10:36, which is about 3 minutes away, but you can see it's closing beneath the low of this bar. And that typically means that you're going to get a retracement on this, which is why I didn't like that binary, because you've already lost money on that binary, but actually it would be normal for this price to pull back right now. If you're trading the Dow, I would not suggest going out more than one strike, because the minimum move on the Dow between 10 and 11 is only 31 points for June. Over on the NASDAQ, the minimum is 8 points. So again, one strike price and you're done. Now I'm going to go get some tea while we're waiting on this to move. Again, you can see that the NASDAQ 12-minute chart is getting ready to retrace, but now that does not end until another 6 minutes. But as price was moving up, again, buyers were decreasing. On the Dow, I would want to see a reversal bar before you go in that one. Both the USD JPY and the Euro Yen have about 10 minutes to get below this red line. The Euro dollar has another hour and 10 minutes almost. On the Dow, you can go out to 143. It's about $10 of risk on it. So this is where it's going to have to get to give you money. Yeah, when I was looking at it, it was 75. You've already had a move down, Chris. So that's probably why you're seeing that. Because I've got 63.75 right now. You have to be looking at them as it's approaching. Then I'm trying to keep up with the premiums on these others, so. The premium right now on the USD JPY strike is 40.50. It's jumping around like crazy. You have made profits on both the USD JPY and the Euro Yen. You know, are you going to let it set another 2.5 minutes? I mean, that's up to you. I can't tell you what to do with the trade. That's on you. Yeah. You want to get it just as your reversal bar is forming, okay? You don't really want to wait. And this is why I tell you it's really useful to have the indicators, especially if you do the binary signals, because I would have known to take the profits that were offered because you've got an ATR right below you. In here, you have an ATR right below you. It's usually not a good sign. Now, no, your profit target was filled on the Euro Yen. I haven't seen it on the USD hit it yet. The lowest I saw that it got was about 40 on it. The indicative right now on the USD JPY is 38.8. That 8 is what's going to either pay you or not. It's got 6 seconds left. So on this one did make money. I know it hit your profit target because I saw it. This one, if you didn't take profits, it expired worthless. I would have taken profits personally, but it's up to you. Sometimes you just have to take what the market's offering. Now the one that is still pending is this one on the euro dollar. It still has about an hour left. So also highlights why I like the binaries, because even though that went against you, you still made money on the binary. You couldn't get stopped out unless you got scared and jumped out. That's not something I do. On the euro yen, this was your reversal bar. And actually, if you'd waited for the reversal bar, you could have got that for about 20 bucks. We're still waiting on the euro dollar. It hasn't done what we wanted it to yet. And of course on the Dow. The reason I keep flipping back and forth is I wanted to make sure my strike was not above the ATR over here on the 12-minute chart. I know it's above over here on the 45. On this one, I'm going to put a question mark because it depends on whether you took profits or not. If you didn't take profits, then you lost. But you did make at least a 1-to-1 on this. And this one, you made about 1 to, I would say 1.75. Because the risk was right at 30. But this one, I know for a fact, filled the profit target, so you did make 55 on it. This one is debatable. Either you lost 30 or you made 30. I'm not sure which one. Depends on how you traded it. But I do know that it hit the $30 target. Both the Dow and the Euro have until noon to work in our favor. I would like to see a reversal bar formed here. We had the reversal bar. This told me that more than likely it would go down. I would have been in at the open of this bar because it lowers your risk. If you waited on this bar, then you had to go out one extra strike. If this forms a reversal bar right here, you could actually take it to the upside on both of these, because that's probably where it's going to go. And the numbers that I'm using to determine is it enough to actually move this market is actually the minimums, okay? And that makes a difference, because when you're looking at minimums, okay, that tells me my worst case scenario. And you can see this is for 2016. It measured, you know, the minimum movement for this time period, okay? And it's 31. So that's the minimum. That's the least amount of movement I can anticipate. It gives me my worst case scenario for my strikes. And that's what I like to use. Now, really what you want to see on the Dow, you want to see it come below the 21,138 area. But your problem is going to be at 129. That's where you have an ATR. Why does that matter? Because the same pattern that you see over here can play out on that 12-minute chart. That's why you don't want to see that pattern. Now, I have been talking about the minimum move on the Dow. I also have the maximum move on the Dow. So if it really, really goes in my favor, then there is a potential for it to move 140 points. That is like a dream day after a market report, I guarantee you. So if we had a market report like at 10 o'clock, I would probably use the max amount. But with price moving as slow as it's moving right now, I'm going to go with the minimum, because that's my worst case scenario. Does everybody understand that? I didn't know it was going to be that easy for everybody to understand. I don't like that bar that's forming on the Dow. I would like to see this bar close on the low. On the NASDAQ, you would wait for this to come back and test the ATR before you tried to enter a short on it. And Christian, this is when I start looking because you already know the value is 58.88. You're probably going to have to go out to 1 p.m. on that one. So if it comes back to 58.87, you would look at 58.83. If this pattern holds over here on the euro, we should actually get above this strike. Have to wait and see. It's got about a minute and 30 seconds left, and it's forming that reversal bar right here. See how your reversal bar is coming in on the NASDAQ? This is the area that you're going to target. Let price get there, and then target one strike out. Trading is about waiting for your setup and waiting for your criteria to be fulfilled. And once you're in the trade, you have to manage it. Okay, the ATR has now dropped down to 587. So again, you're still targeting 583 which is about where it's trading right now. So this would be your target for your strike. But it's got to come back here and form a reversal bar. That's your criteria. Really want to see a reversal bar on this. This would be a 1 p.m. expiration. This is noon. And this one is noon. Have not had any reversal bars yet on the yen pairs. Now, a common misconception is you can't do this with futures or Forex. You can. You don't have to use binary options. In this case, your entry would have been here on the futures. You set your stop up here, and then once this high was taken out, you would have exited. So basically, you entered about 21,158. It went down to 21,145 is probably where your exit was. Did you make bank? No, but you're not going to make bank on the futures right now. They're just not moving enough. We got the reversal bar like I wanted. So now it should come and should take out this, these white dots actually. I would like to see the current price bar close above this blue line, which is the high of the previous bar. And this is just monitoring your trade to make sure price is doing what you anticipate. You know, in the case of the NASDAQ, it did not do what you anticipated. You would not have entered that binary option. That's where discipline comes in. You needed it to come back to this ATR. It did not do that. These are the areas I don't take trades. There's been no reversal bars at that ATR. None. Don't take a trade there. The overall trend is down on both of these currencies. This was probably a retracement on like the 60-minute chart. You know, the key to it is that you had this resistance area here. You had a resistance area here that was going to hold price down. And until you see that reversal bar coming in, you better not touch a long position because you're going against your higher time frames. Currently with 7 minutes left, this bar is doing what I wanted it to do, and that it's closing above the high of that. That's what I want it to do. We really need this to close above our strike price at 143. It hasn't been able to do it yet. It's almost like it's offering a resistance area there. And that's usually when I stretch out the chart to see what is there. And you can see that there's a low there. Now I knew to look at that because it's resisting price right there. It's resisting to go down. You can see it's supporting. When I come over here and look though, this is a potential reversal bar to the downside, so this is probably going to make a difference on this bar, whether it goes down or not. And I still come back and look at this one to see, you know, has this ATR moved at all? That makes a difference to me too. This ATR is still below our strike price, so I'm okay. The biggest issue is this previous low. It's offering support for price. We don't want it to offer support right now. We want it to break through. We have about 33 minutes left on these binaries. Let's see if it can push down through our strike price now. Yeah, I'm watching the bar, actually, but you do have to remember this is a 3-minute, Chris. Sometimes I forget this is a 3-minute. I'm so used to trading the 15 minutes. It makes a difference because, for example, you've got about 30 minutes. That's 10 bars over here versus only, 2 bars over here on a 15-minute. I have to remind myself of that when I'm trading the futures. Right now, it's just kind of stalling. I mean, could you exit? Yeah, you wouldn't have a loss, Would you have made money? No. Well, I think you would have made about $5. You would have made enough to cover the cost of the trade. Again, this one, I would not be entering this one. It's got a dot on it. You have a signal for it, but there is no reversal bar here yet. The euro is still trying. It really is. It just hasn't went where we wanted it to yet. The close on that was 1271. The high of the previous bar was 1270. So this is a 3-bar reversal pattern, which tells us the next bar should be a bullish bar, and hopefully it will go up and take out our strike. It still has about 2 bars to do that. And again, it keeps hitting that low and going up on the Dow. I don't like that it is doing that at all. Now you've got a potential reversal bar forming on the euro yen right now, but I'm going to show you why I would not take that. You're getting into the lunchtime hour, and the minimum move is 15 pips. Your strike distance on the euro yen is 10 pips. I wouldn't touch that. Your worst case scenario doesn't align for you to make money if you take that binary option. Does everybody understand that? I would want at least a 20 pip strike width. Oh, you're not going to get it. Again, this one on the euro yen, I wouldn't even think about doing. It's not enough market movement in there for me to take it. We're on our last 15-minute bar of the euro dollar. That's probably going to be a full loss. I think it was around $30. I'm not 100% confident. I know it wasn't over $30 because I haven't taken any trades that were over $30. Now, I'm not going to wait until noon because I know this is at a full loss. So this one would have been negative 30 max. You can go back and watch the video to find out how much it actually was on the entry. This one, if you paid attention at all to this trade, you at least made 15. I know it made more than 30, but worst case scenario, you were able to take 15. On this one, you did make 55. On this one, you had two opportunities to at least make 1-to-1. This was your first one. This was your second one. Worst case scenario is when you saw this bar form, it was a reversal bar to the upside, you could have at least been at break even on that one. And that's with any kind of trade management skills whatsoever. And you do have to manage your trades, but so this would have been 70 minus 30. You still made, trading one contract each, you still would have had a profit for the morning of $40. And it's been a slow morning. To me, this would have been my worst case scenario, was at least a $40 profit minimum. How you traded it, I don't know. So any questions this morning? I don't think any other trades were painful at all. It was just whether you were paying attention to it or not, and whether you tried to manage it. You know, I know for a fact the USD JPY up until about 2 minutes before expiration was trying to give you at least 30 bucks. But if you wanted to get that last little bit, then, you know, you lost money. That's called greed. You have to take what the market gives you sometimes. Any questions this morning? Y'all have been very quiet this morning. Okay, if there's no questions, I'm going to end the session. Now, from now on, when I do have the Tuesday sessions, we're going to be doing the 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. just because that's when the markets are moving more. We're getting really slow markets, so I need to make sure that we have a time period that it actually moves. All right, everyone have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you at the next live trading session. I do have one tomorrow in the Nadex room, which is going to be support and resistance, in which you'll learn immediately, yeah, there's a low there and it can't break that low. So you would exit your trade. Okay? Everybody have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.